Podcast.
Hello and welcome to the Shimmer Podcast. I'm John Bradley.
And I'm Brian Batiste.
And I just hit my hat on the microphone, so it sounds like...
Did you?
Yeah, I just hit my hat on the microphone.
This is my first experience with this microphone, so I hope I don't do anything that I normally, like on the other one, I wouldn't be able to hear, and I'll be like...
Oh, because it's super live now?
Super sensitive?
Like how mine is, where I'm like, we have to record, and I feel like you can hear every centimeter of the inside of my mouth.
I'm trying to find a way to be cool and look at you and not... All right, so... If you're listening to this, we are attempting to do the video component to this podcast in my dimly lit basement with hue lights and a spotlight that's clipped up onto a water pipe above us in the basement. But I mean, the background's cool. There's a scary pumpkin. We got a bunch of weird little things that maybe one day will look cooler. But
yeah, I mean, like, again, we're just trying out this new space. I think that a video component in general is cool.
Yeah. I watch Joe Rogan more than I listen to Joe Rogan.
Yeah, I feel like that's a common thing nowadays where it's like, I just put on a podcast or I put it on like a YouTube video in the back and I just watch that instead of movies. But now...
Jamie, pull this up.
You can watch both.
We need to have like Brendan or a producer in the background that like pulls up like we'll have like a big screen behind us, put one there where the skull is. And then Brendan can look up stuff that we're talking about in movies. So instead of me having to like sit here and dual Wikipedia, I can be like, Brendan, pull up Nick Castle on Wikipedia.
Brendan doesn't even listen to our podcast.
Yeah, no, he doesn't.
We can have Lindsay do it.
True.
Lindsay would love to do stuff like that.
I feel like sometimes when I talk to her at work, I'll bring up something and she'll look it up as we're talking about it to be like, oh yeah, it's like this. I'm like, yo, producer.
She would be perfect for that. Also, I brought a cable. So if you are watching our video component, if it ever comes out, if not, this is just a funny little segment.
Yeah.
I brought a cable to hook up. Right now we have a camera hooked up to my computer so we can see what we look like while we're recording, which is terrible for your ego. And then I also brought a cable and a camera or an adapter because I was going to then plug that out into the big TV, so it's just
wow. So we get caught in the infinity.
Yeah, in the Infinity War. So if you can't tell by the background, which is behind us, which is neat,
wow.
And if you can't tell by the title of this podcast, we are talking about our new audio setup. Just kidding, we're talking about Halloween.
The 2018 Halloween, which is a sequel to the 1978 Halloween, which was 40 years ago when I was negative 10 years old. Still starring Jamie Lee Curtis, and it ignores all other sequels, including the original Halloween 2, H2O, Resurrection, so on. So in a way, the sequel to Halloween is Halloween.
It's Halloween, baby. It was directed by David Gordon Green, who is also known for directing...
Eastbound and Down, Pineapple Express, Undertow, Your Highness. That's the Danny McBride stoner movies, because him and Danny McBride wrote this movie together. They're writing partners.
And John Carpenter did produce this, as well as Jason Blum,
and Jamie Lee Curtis, which I thought was smart. Versus I read an article on Bloody Disgusting about. In 2009, 2010, they did the Friday the 13th and the Nightmare on Elm Street remakes, and their biggest missteps was ignoring the past and not bringing in like consultants in. So like Wes Craven was like, fuck that movie when it came out.
Really?
And it combined like the Nightmare on Elm Street that had Jackie Earl Hay?
I know what you're talking about, yeah.
The guy that plays Rorschach in Watchmen.
It was a big deal when he got the part.
Yeah.
And then just the whole movie didn't matter.
They combine like there's elements of like the first 4 Nightmare on Elm Street movies in one movie. Kind of. I think if I'm not mixing up with the Friday the 13th. It might be Friday the 13th they did that. Nonetheless, they're both like, Yeah. I mean, obviously, it's been 10 years since they've even done new movies in those franchises, so.
Right.
This one, Jason Blum said I think they acquired the rights to Halloween, and he was outright like, Wes Craven has to be involved. Jamie Lee Curtis has to be involved.
This was a conversation I was having too about like producer versus like a different title. We were talking about A Star Is Born, and there's a theory like, you know how Bradley Cooper directed it. It's his directorial debut, whatever.
Yeah.
There's also a theory that there are so many assistant directors that were just like guiding and holding his hand through it. And then there's another theory that it's like, why not just, or this is the conversation I was having rather, why not just have him as a producer instead of like a director. I mean, maybe he did direct it. I don't know. But like, it's cool that Jamie Lee Curtis is like, I'll just produce it instead.
Yeah.
Or like Sigourney Weaver does that with the Alien movies.
Yeah.
The ones that she's in.
And now, who plays the main in the Terminator franchise?
Is it not Arnold?
Well, not Arnold. The Linda something.
The person who's actually...
I should know this. I'm on a movie podcast.
I can look it up.
But there's a new...
Yes.
There's a new Terminator coming out, and she's in the movie again. And now it's almost very similar. Like, she's the badass. She's waiting. Like, she's...
It's going to be the Terminator. It's called the Terminator is what it's known as right now.
Mm-hmm.
It is Linda Hamilton. Sarah
That's Linda Hamilton. I always want to say Linda Blair for some reason. I know it's not.
I also always want to say Sarah O'Connor, not Sarah Connor. Mackenzie Davis.
Mackenzie Davis, Tully.
Oh, I haven't seen Tully yet.
Oh, man, our cool background timed out.
You know what I just saw, though? Not Tully. Oh, she was in Blade Runner and The Martian? I've definitely seen her and stuff.
Yeah.
You know what you know what I just saw recently that has nothing to do with any of this stuff?
What?
First Man. It was so good.
Starring
Claire Foy and Ryan Gosling.
Gosling.
What if I actually said Gosling?
I wouldn't correct you.
Gosling and Riesling. But that shit was so good, dude. Okay, so Halloween.
It was my second. We just watched it in hours before this. We went to 3 o'clock at our AMC, and it's my second time seeing the film. I saw it the opening weekend in Dolby Cinema, which was better for the audio side and getting jump scared at moments that weren't necessarily jump scary, because now watching it in the regular theater, I was like, hey, John, remember in this part when they just did that? I jumped like a motherfucker in the theater because your seat's shaking and everything else.
Yeah.
I was like, oh!
It definitely makes me wish that I could have seen it in Dolby. Instead, I think tonight the Dolby Cinema was playing Nutcracker, Bohemian Rhapsody, and Overlord or some shit.
No, because I actually had advanced screening tickets to see Overlord.
Really?
I will get into this later. I registered on this website that gives you like advanced screening tickets. But
really?
You're not necessarily guaranteed in. Like, you still have to get there and be there early to like be like they overbook it.
Right.
But they're all in like New York and shit. And it's like, do I really want to fucking on a Wednesday try to get myself to Lincoln Square AMC at 7 o'clock to see Overlord?
Do you have like AT&T or anything? Or DirecTV?
I have DirecTV Now, the streaming service, and I have AT&T as my cellular provider.
So there are a bunch of little benefits that I don't think a lot of us use, where like AT&T will give you either half off tickets on Tuesdays for AMC or just any movie theater.
$5 ticket Tuesdays.
Well, that's just the AMC one, but there's like AT&T will also do it. It must be more than AMC then.
I'm gonna do the A-list thing.
Do it.
You do.
I
didn't do it tonight because I had points, but...
Well, I got it, and then I went on my business trip, and I was just gone for so long, and I didn't see a single movie.
I would have, and then I knew, like, if you're going away, like, there's only so many movies Lindsay's going to go see with me versus me being like, hey, fuck you want to go see this movie at 4 o'clock? And you're like, okay.
Well, the funny thing is now you live like 30 minutes from a theater instead of when you lived a second away from it. But
I've progressively, over the years, gotten closer and closer to John.
I wonder how far it is for you to just go see it at my theater at AMC. I don't know. We'll get into it off pod, as they like to say. Oh, Rutgers basketball started. Okay.
Des Bryant.
All right, so Halloween, directed by that dude that we said a couple of minutes ago.
David Gordon Green.
Sounds good. And I think
Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
The big thing about it is that it was helped, partially written by Danny McBride, who you would know from Pineapple Express, from Kung Fu Feet, whatever the movie was. Eastbound and Down, Vice Principal, all that shit.
He was in that new Alien movie, too.
He was in Prometheus. Or no, not Prometheus.
Alien... Covenant.
And I think that a lot of people see him as this super... Again, it's kind of like Jordan Peele. Obviously, like Jordan Peele actually directed and wrote Get Out, so it's a little different, and I can't compare him entirely, because like Jordan Peele did something new. But it's a thing where you see him as a comedy guy, and then you see that he writes this movie. But first off, like there were a lot of comedic parts in this movie.
And that's where in my initial notes, when I watched it the first time, I thought it was really fun. I mean, I feel like maybe they're more obvious than others. Maybe there's some where I'm surprised on. But what was like a Danny McBride line?
Yeah.
And what wasn't? Like, I already have an article pulled up because it's the thing I love the most. The child actor in this movie, Jabrail Nentambu. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Nonetheless, it's his first movie, and I read an article with the director They think they cast him during filming like, last second because he just kind of had like a I don't give a fuck kind of vibe and like the read-throughs and stuff like that. And they're like, yo, this kid's funny. And just they rolled with him. Yeah,
and he was hilarious. And he was like the great comedic relief for that whole thing.
Yeah.
And I mean, again, I might be assuming that like, oh, it's Danny McBride. It's going to be funnier. And he probably wrote all the funny lines when it could have been any of the other writers.
Yeah.
But I liked it a lot. Let's get into it. How did you feel about it as somebody that is like the Halloween? I would say that the Halloween franchise is near and dear to your heart.
Yeah, as well, oh my God, as well as Halloween in general. What fucking futon leg go out? All right, so we're work in progress.
Yes.
You can't see it.
I hit it again.
Even if you do, we'll have better lighting eventually. I just moved basically all the Halloween decorations from upstairs downstairs, and that was not a joke last week.
Yes.
There literally is like ghouls and goblins hanging around, trick-or-treat signs, Camp Crystal Lake sign off in the corner.
Yeah. Maybe if we get like a whole YouTube for this, we'll just have to actually do like a tour of this room. Because that's one thing
look at our downstairs. This is cool.
That's one thing I hate about people that do video components to their podcast or anything. You only see the frame that they show you. And like anytime I watch it, I'm like, I want to see your fucking studio,
There could
bro.
be dead bodies over there. I have a bass here, another guitar there. There's
like I listen to or I
treadmill?
watch like the Dan Le Batard show daily.
Yeah.
And now they started doing more Instagram Live, and they'll show you like different parts of their studio, and I'm like, wow, it looks so crazy compared to the little frames you see.
Are you inferring that we Instagram Live right now? I'm just kidding.
No, do whatever you want. But
I'm not gonna do that right now.
We're so jazzed about this that we didn't even talk about the movie yet. The movie! If you came here for the movie, I hope that you didn't turn it off by now.
Going back to what you said. I've watched all the Halloween movies. I watch a horror movie as much as I possibly can. I watched, and in my first viewing, Lindsay has not seen the original Halloween, so I made us rewatch it the night before. I believe the night before we went to go see the new one, knowing it was a direct sequel to the first movie. And maybe because it was so fresh on my mind, I was able to identify the references and the callbacks to the original movie. But I was saying to people after seeing it, this new Halloween movie found a way to be somewhat of a sequel and weirdly a remake.
Yeah.
There's very similar dynamics. There's switched roles and iconic scenes, and like, you know, when Laurie's focusing on the closet doors that she, you know, in that original movie when she's stuck in the closet with the shuttered window, or the shuttered doors, and Michael Myers is coming in there to get her, and she's clawing away with the hanger, like that kind of stuff. I was like, oh, this is sick.
I think that
this was sick.
Are you Aquaman?
No, that dude, the boyfriend that goes back in the shed.
Dave. Yes.
Sick.
Aquaman. I think that I had a friend who wanted to go see it as well, and we almost went to go see it, and they were like, I've never seen any of the original. Do I have to? I don't think you have to.
No, not at all.
There are definitely parts where it's like, if you had no idea at all about this whole franchise, it would probably be like, what am I watching? But also at this point, like the Michael Myers mask is such a staple of our zeitgeist, I guess.
Yeah. Just, I guess, take it from the beginning. What did you feel about that introductory scene? There was no sort of opening credits like the original movie. It just kind of jumped into a scene to begin with.
I love that. I think that, so my introduction to Halloween in general is the AMC Halloween, like, October marathons. Yes. Since I've been a kid, I've been like, oh, every October when it gets closer to Halloween, I'm popping AMC on. I'm watching all of the hours of marathons of all the movies where it's straight up like starting from the first Halloween to the newest one that we have the rights to. Have fun. I love their style of it's a thriller more than it is a horror film.
Yeah.
And I love that there are moments like that first scene where it's like the adventure and the scary part is building up. Like, you have all of the other inpatients going crazy over this mask.
The siren going off.
You expect it to have some huge explosion, and then it just goes straight to the title card.
Which was really cool, and I pulled up an article because I read it the other day, and they actually released just the opening sequence, which you could look up online. Mm-hmm. It was not CGI. They literally did let a pumpkin rot and time lapse and then reversed it.
That whole title card sequence with the pumpkin was really cool, and the only thing that I felt bad about is that I wasn't watching any of the names. I was watching the pumpkin, and then the eye, I don't know if this is on purpose or if it was just me looking too far into it, looked like, it zooms into the eye, and it looks like Michael Myers.
Yeah, it has that kind of cutout to it.
Probably on purpose.
Oh, let's see.
But I think that the opening scene is cool for a couple of reasons, because I like movies that go straight into it and they barely have a little bit and then they kind of fill you in as you go. But because it feels more like, oh, I'm actually in this environment, not like I'm watching a movie. And then I also like it because you see it in the trailer and you even more expect like, oh, there's going to be some giant payoff, and then it just goes straight to the title card.
The only things that were done post were the flickering candle and the camera slow pushing. It says they filmed the pumpkin over the course of a week and took a snapshot every 60
seconds.
60 seconds?
Minutes?
Every 60 seconds.
Can you imagine how
wasn't
many...
originally conceived to run in reverse, but I think it works nicely.
Yeah. Could you imagine... oh, no.
Oh, hold on. Ready?
Yeah. Could you imagine if you didn't realize that they were doing a project and you were like, oh, I'm going to clean this pumpkin up, and then you just fucked up the entire thing?
Yeah. Oh! But yeah, apparently that was all... I mean, Blumhouse in general, like, this movie was done for literally a fraction of the budget of a lot of movies, including other Halloween movies.
That was going to be one of my questions to you. Happy
Death Day, all that stuff. This is all under the Blumhouse Paranormal Activity. I guess they take good pride in like turning around massive profit off their movies because they do such like guerrilla productions. Like there was no trailers on this movie. They did it all in like 27 days or something.
But it's crazy because it looks so good. But my question, so there's a part where it's a Halloween dance.
Yes.
And they have a song playing that is clearly a ripoff of the...
I don't care.
Yes.
And when I saw it there, I was like, I don't care.
It's clearly, to the beat, a ripoff, like any of those commercial songs where it's like, oh, all we did was change one note, so it's not like we're going to get sued. And I was like, that can't be that much fucking money to get. Yeah. So I'm guessing that like, as soon as I saw that, I was like, oh, they must have such a low budget that they couldn't even get the rights to that song. That
I thought maybe it was just the verse to that song and I've never heard it or something.
No, like even to like the breaks, as long as they go in the real song, that's how long it is in there.
Oh.
Like even down to like, all right, we go for 4 bars and then we go to this pre-chorus and then we go to this chorus part. It's exactly the same in the movie. But I love the opening scenes. I love how it flows. Like as a movie in general, I thought it flowed so well for what you're getting into. I thought
even seeing it a second time, I was kind of be like, oh, is there going to be certain parts where I'm like, all right, let's get to the good shit. But I was like,
no. And that's kind of what I like about movies like that. If I'm going in to see a movie like that, it is like, yo, we know what you came here for and we're going to deliver. We're not going to like have you sit in this one scene for too long. You came here for gore. You came here for some fun, thrilling. Have fun. Here it is.
Isn't it funny to realize, at least in this movie, the whole events begin contact of Michael Myers, showing him the mask, and then confronting Laurie in her home over a podcast.
That killed me.
We're
that
podcasters.
And that is such... Like, there were a couple parts in this where it was kind of a social commentary that I thought was cool.
British true crime podcasters.
I thought that was so funny. I was bummed when they died because I did like their characters, and they were such a staple of the trailer that I thought that they would last longer.
I mean, if Hereditary taught you anything.
Good point.
Yeah, I mean, I don't like watching trailers, so I like when, like, I anytime I saw anything, I barely watch actual television to see trailers, but I was like, I don't want to fucking see it. I don't want to see it. Don't show me. That's
becoming more of a common thing. I have a lot of friends that don't want trailers.
Nope.
I have, there's one person I follow online. We brought him up, Demi Adjwibe. He didn't want to see trailers to Isle of the Dog so bad, and he goes to see a billion movies.
Oh my God.
He would run out of the theater during that trailer because he's like, I don't want it to be spoiled. I don't want anything. And I have a friend like that with Star Wars, where like they will not watch a single Star Wars trailer when it comes up because they don't want to know anything until they see it.
Everyone's dissecting every shot and like, this means this. Because he's holding his arm here, which means he's going to get in a fight and be hurt, and that means this was this. I'm like, all right.
And now we live in the world like post-Avengers or post-Marvel cinema where it's like, no, they'll straight up just change a trailer or put something in the trailer just so you're thrown off.
I just hope all those guys are okay and they can come back somehow.
But no, I loved... Sorry.
Spitterman.
I loved the flow of the movie. I loved Jamie Lee Curtis's acting. There were a couple parts, just like negative thoughts. There were a couple parts where the line delivery was so just shoddy that I was like, y'all didn't want a different take of that? But then again, it's kind of that movie.
So
the franchise, rather.
Directly off of that is one of the lines, because I was kind of trying to pick up on like on your body language for certain things.
Yeah.
I prayed every night that Michael would break out.
Yes.
What would you do that for? So I can kill him. Well, it was a dumb thing to pray for. And he walks away.
I even wrote a note.
You're like,
the whole like delivery of that was so strange, and the whole scene of that was anticlimactic. But then I wrote later that I actually enjoyed it in hindsight because it makes you think, oh, she did it.
Yeah.
And even still, I don't know who actually did it. I assume, I mean, spoiler alert, if you haven't seen it, I don't know why you're listening to this. I assumed that eventually the doctor was the one who did it.
Uh-huh.
And then still, I don't know if he did. He says that he got loose and killed a guard, but I also...
It makes sense that it was him if he was willing to. He wanted to get Michael into his... I thought about this more when that scene was happening today. Yeah. He wanted to see Michael in his original habitat, blah, 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 blah. So it makes sense that he was like posted up on the bus like, oh, don't shoot, don't shoot.
That was so funny.
So one thing that kind of bothers me, and it's been brought up in other podcasts, and I guess it's a point of contention online, this movie ignores the other movies. So Michael isn't necessarily Laurie Strode's brother, which it comes out in the other movies that's the case, and that's why he's trying to kill her. That's not a thing here. And they even kind of make fun of that when the daughter, her granddaughter and her friends are talking about like, oh, what rumor is, wasn't it like, you know, her brother that killed her or something like that? No, it's a stranger, blah, blah, blah. Nonetheless, besides that, he kills when the hospital escape thing with the bus, he kills a kid. And then Michael shows a weird like moment of humanity after he kills that woman in the house and then grabs the knife and just stares at the baby and then walks out the front door.
I thought he was going to kill the baby.
It's a very big thing, and actually David Gordon Green's been kind of been like, like he thinks he's going to regret doing that.
He thinks he's going to regret not killing the kid?
Yeah, because it's a weird... For you to be having Michael doing everything he's doing and including everything post looking at that baby, it's a single shot, and I wanted to see if you picked up on that, how cool that was. Moving over, walking in, and seeing the girl in the front window, walking to the back of the house, killing her. It's like he's already so brutal. He's already killed a kid. Like, where is that line that it's a baby?
I heard the crying baby, and I thought they were going to go there, but also as like low budget.
You don't have to show us kill the baby. At least you could show us the whole like he cleans up the knife when he comes out.
Because I think that would have just thrown him like full throttle into bad guy mode.
And I'm not a piece of shit. I'm just being devil's advocate.
Right. No, I mean, like, this isn't wrestling. This is like a movie. And this is where you can get into that fun thing of like, he's a fucking terrible human being. Like, they're billing
him. Pure evil.
They're billing him as pure evil. He could have killed that baby.
He could have killed that baby.
I don't think I've ever thought in my life that I would utter the sentence, he could have killed that baby.
But by the same token, he was also walking amongst tons of trick-or-treaters and wasn't just like...
Right. Well, that's kind of the fun thing about, like, in the beginning...
the shape.
The podcasters, they were saying, like, oh, he deserves, like, a second chance, all this shit. And Jamie Lee Curtis's character, Laurie, just goes... Oh, so he killed 5 people. He deserves a second chance. I'm the crazy one who has 2 divorces and can't keep her shit together. The basket case. Yeah. And I thought that was funny. And I'm like, wait, didn't he kill way more than 5 people?
I liked how they kind of like a big plot point is just like 40 years later, like after a traumatic event, like what that does to a person and how she's so like rattled by
okay.
She has her moments of being strong, but you could see how it really consumes her every being, and she's constantly just like, fuck. Like I thought she was going to try to kill herself when she's drinking outside watching the bus leave. I was like, oh, fuck.
I think one of my favorite scenes is when she comes into like the Applebee's or Olive Garden where the rest of the family is celebrating, and she just picks up a random glass of wine and starts chugging it. Like she just ran a 5K.
There was honestly a moment where, like, when they show her, like, she's drinking like a shooter in her car, watching the bus. I'm like, yo, am I about to get Bryan Cranston in Godzilla? Like, she dies in the first like 30 minutes, and you're like, what the fuck?
Well, I mean, there were other characters who die, and when you see them die, you're like, oh shit, I didn't think he was gonna fucking die that way. Like, what's his face, the cop, Frank?
Yeah.
Okay, so just to get a refresher here, because I haven't seen the original in a while. So this movie is playing in the universe of Laurie
The first movie's happened.
The first movie or 2?
The first movie. That's it.
So he's only killed 5 people, and since then he's been in that asylum for 40 years.
Michael Myers has gone into the closet where Laurie was. She stabs him in the eye with a hanger. He comes out, whatever. Loomis comes out, shoots him off the balcony. He's there. He turns to Laurie like, oh, are you okay? It looks back, and Michael's gone. That's it.
I want to go home and watch the rest of these.
Which is why there was a cool callback to she takes a fall out the window and is laying there.
Yeah.
And he looks, and it's like, oh, shit. It's like, beep.
Yeah.
Shout out to John Carpenter's score in this movie. I actually listened to that entire score before even seeing the movie multiple times and played that for trick-or-treaters Halloween night. Because that shit rocks.
That's kind of like what we did with Annihilation, where we just listened to the entire thing.
Oh, yeah. I'm all about the soundtracks.
Yeah, I love a good franchise, even if it's a shitty movie. Like, I can't tell you how many times I've seen all... I can. It's probably only been once, but I watched all the Fast and the Furious. I've watched all of the Resident Evils. If you put a bunch of shitty movies in a line as a recurring theme and writing, I'm gonna watch all of them. I'm gonna go home after this and probably watch all the Halloweens that you have on our Plex account, and by our I mean yours.
It's ours.
It's ours.
It's everyone's.
But okay, so as a movie, let's pull up the fucking notes.
All right.
Can we make an imaging that's just like John goes to his notes?
And while you're pulling up your notes,
I
want to have this on
yes,
tape. We should do for one of the shitty podcasts. Like, I don't even know why we call it shitty, but like, all right, it's like you made me watch.
It's amazing.
I watched The Graduate, and I'd never seen it before.
Yes.
Can we do a podcast where you watch A Man Apart with starring Vin Diesel? And
100%, 100%.
Yes.
We could easily do that.
I need to find that movie.
It's probably somewhere.
We talked about it in episode 13. Go listen.
Yeah, no, I would watch. Like, we could totally do that. I don't think that I think that like a lot of podcasts, and I think when we started this podcast, it's kind of like, what can we talk about that is pertinent to people's interest or relevant? And I think now it's just like, fuck it. If we want to watch this movie that's shitty or good, let's watch it and just talk about it.
Yeah.
But okay.
Notes.
I love the coloring. When you said that it was a low budget movie, that's surprising to me. I mean, I guess I shouldn't be surprised because you can do a lot of stuff
Budget
in terms
was
of
10 to 15 million.
That's
tops.
So low for a movie of that size.
And it's already at 232.4 million.
Million. Okay. God, I would love to get into like how pay structure is done, because if you do a movie like this and you're like, oh, cool. Yeah, it's shot for 10 to 15. Do they get a percentage after it goes?
I don't know.
Like, I would love to learn that geeky shit of like, does Jamie Lee Curtis get a percentage of how well it does, or does it just go straight to Blumhouse? I guess she would because she's a producer, but like,
yeah,
other actors or actresses. Okay. Oh, I just accidentally with my palm inserted a table into my notes. You know how often I'm listening to a podcast and I go to like put my phone in my pocket and my fucking palm next to my thumb just hits a new podcast? Okay, so I love the camera work. I love that there are parts where it's a very still shot, and then I love that there's this like deliberate panning that goes on every now and then.
Yeah.
And it's not just to like make you feel like he's in the bushes and you're watching from his point of view, which they do often. It's just like it's pretty and it's fluid, and I love that about film work. I noticed, sorry about all the inhaling, my allergies are fucked.
You're just doing the Michael Myers mask breathes.
No, my fucking allergies are fucked. So, I love the point where she's in her truck and she's just like trying to catch him and she's listening to the scanner. They have these moments of, or how they actually filmed it, of Jamie Lee, of Laurie, that reminds me of like GTA. Where it's like she goes, she hits the
like
gas
up on the D-pad and it gives you that weird angle. It's like outside the car, but not, and you're like, whoa, cinematic.
There's a lot of that. It's like a lot of like quick zooms and then a lot of like, oh, watch her fucking zoom out as she hits the gas. And I like that.
I like there's like definitive, like they put an actor behind the wheel of a car and made him do something versus it being that like, at least with the cop there was.
I think I know what you're saying.
Like they actually physically drove a car and they filmed it versus them being on like the soundstage.
Yeah. I mean, we hope. I thought that the bus scene with the bus crash had some of my favorite lighting I've seen in like this year of film.
With the high beam shooting out towards the roadway.
high beam shooting out, and just the bus is still lit so well.
Yeah.
I thought that was really cool. Bernie Mac reference was really good.
I want to note the guy that plays Michael Myers in this movie is James Jude Courtney.
Okay.
The original Michael Myers that played him in the original movie, his name's Nick Castle. He's been in a bunch of other stuff, whatever. In the shot where Laurie shows up to the house that he just killed the girl and everything else that the kid was in, and she looks up at the window and he's in the window and she shoots at him.
Yeah.
That scene, that shot is Nick Castle.
Really?
Yeah.
They let him play just that?
Just that, because he's just standing there, whatever, and does like the head tilt, and then any sort of the breathing and stuff was all Nick Castle.
That's
in
neat.
post-production.
I really liked that shot especially. I liked any of the shots where they seemed like there was this connection to them. Wait, fill me in. What is the connection between Laurie and Michael Myers?
It is established eventually, I think in Halloween 2, that like the reason why he's coming for her is because they're actually like related brother and sister, and she never knew. Like she got adopted or something like that, and that's why he's coming for her. So he's just trying to wipe out his whole family. And this one, after the first Halloween, that's not established. It's just this girl like, being terrorized by this random guy.
But she's not
obviously,
even in it after that, right? After 2? Until H2O?
Correct.
Is it like her family, or is it just, oh, he's a killer?
I think they focus more on the whole, like, he's trying to kill and wipe out his family bloodline, and obviously anybody else that steps in his way. But he's, like, actively trying to kill his family.
Is this the meaning behind the Smashing Pumpkins song where Billy Corgan goes, "The killer in me is the killer in you"?
Maybe. Shout out to that new Smashing Pumpkins single that's an open E.
No, I feel like we definitely don't need to shout out Billy Corgan at any point. That dude is so shitty.
What if I play that song right now?
No,
post-production.
We're gonna play "I Don't Care."
I'll go crazy with that.
So, okay, because that was kind of one thing that I was like, it doesn't fix or hurt anything if I don't know why they're connected. Go ahead.
No, sorry, go ahead.
As a viewer, like, you get this idea that there's just this, like, I can't even think of the right word, brain fart, this, like, crazy connection that they have between each other because they're in separate places in separate buildings, or like she's in the street, he's in a house, or vice versa, and they just look at each other and they're like, I fucking see you, bro.
Food for thought when you go back and rewatch these movies.
Yes.
The first movie, Michael Myers is 6 years old.
Yes.
He kills his sister.
Yes.
And then goes into a mental hospital, whatever, psych asylum. And he's there for, what is it? I forget, is it 20 years later? I forget what the spacing is when it goes to modern time in 1978. But I think he's literally 21 years old or 22 when he initially breaks out. Because he's like 60-something in this movie.
Really?
Yeah.
So he has
this is
old
40
man
years
strength.
later. Yeah.
Old man strength.
I mean, you saw it. The dude was old as shit.
I want to know how he got so strong, but keep going.
Exactly. And none of that's explained.
Okay.
However, it bothered the fuck out of me rewatching this movie, and I even tweeted about it like a joke. How is it that someone that's been in a mental hospital since 6 years old, has never experienced the real world, is able to hijack a car and spends the whole first half of this movie in the fucking jumpsuit, in the Michael Myers mask, driving around in a fucking stolen car perfectly and just lurking around the neighborhood?
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember the first time you drove a car, but my dad drove me like an hour away from where I lived and was like, all right, drive us home. And I was like, trying to like maintain a lane. This dude had it like down pat, and I couldn't let it go. I was like, what the fuck is he driving a car for? This is ridiculous.
Well, it's like they said, he's the predator, and you assume that with his like super strength and just his dire need to kill as a predator, he just overcomes any obstacles, and now he can do it.
Also, do you know what the actual Michael Myers mask is?
No.
It is oh my god, why am I drawing a blank? Star Trek, original Star Trek, main guy, William Shatner.
It's supposed to be a William Shatner?
It's a William Shatner mask, spray painted white.
Is that what he does in the original movie?
I mean, the mask, you don't see the mask, and like it's not like he grabs a mask like and spray paints. It's just that's the mask. Like that's how they created that mask to make it creepy. They just like production team like used a William Shatner mask and spray painted it white.
I feel like if I go back and watch the first Halloween movie, it's going to be kind of like when I tried to watch the Hellraiser series.
And you're like, fuck.
You're like, oh, the first one isn't even the one that got the whole craze going.
Where did that guy's skin go?
because I remember renting the first Hellraiser and I was like, fuck yeah, I'm ready to see some Pinhead shit, bro. And it
like barely
never
in it.
comes. I think it comes at the very end and you're like, what is this weird, creepy art movie that I'm watching?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't like those movies.
I watched one and that was my thing, and then it was like scarier than I thought it was going to be. Those are like,
if you want to hate yourself,
those are fucking scary, dude.
watch the direct-to-DVD ones that come out like in like late 2000, like 2010.
I don't want to. I don't want to.
Ugh.
Those were like scary though. That's like some demonic shit, bruh.
Like getting skinned in the bed and shit.
That shit was scary.
Yeah.
Okay, so this movie, what else? Let's go with more notes, because I definitely took some while we were in the theater.
I'm trying to think what I want.
I thought that the writing was cool. I thought that it was neat that they kind of, again, made some social commentary. You had the kid who wanted to go to dance school instead of hunting. You had the Bonnie and Clyde where they switched genders. They had a bunch of that shit. They had a little poking fun at the friend of the shitty boyfriend who we never see get killed, which is kind of a bummer.
The friend of the...
Well, no. You never see Cameron get killed, the boyfriend.
Oh, I mean, maybe
who,
he
like,
doesn't.
cheats on her.
Yeah, he was just a piece of shit.
Oh, he definitely should have.
Uh-oh.
It's fine. It's completely dead.
Cool.
Yeah. But I really like that they play with that. I think that it's like, I think that there are little parts of like the rebooting where if you put them in a timely fashion, it's like, oh, that's kind of nice. Like, it's kind of cool to be able to go back to a movie that came out however many years ago and be like, let's update it and let's make it more current and relevant.
Yeah. Hold on. So, I mean, this camera's definitely not working?
The camera's definitely not working.
Let me just fucking fix this over here. You don't gotta see me anymore, motherfucker.
Yeah, no, it probably stopped recording a while ago, but
yeah.
it'll be fine.
Oh, God, now I could stare at this wall like I've wanted to.
If you did watch the video component, thank you. If you didn't and you just listened to so much of this, you're probably like, oh my God, I can't wait for them to shut the fuck up.
Put up a cool title card, like whatever it recorded, like hear the rest on the Shimmer.
Just like maybe we'll just start a whole new thing where you just put the first 10 minutes of the podcast and you're like, you want to hear more?
It's like the Sunday night heat of our podcast.
It's like the people who do a Patreon subscription.
Donate $1 and I'll lick your balls.
I saw a really funny tweet that was like, this man asked for a picture of my feet, or he asked to buy a picture of my feet, and I was like, okay, yeah. And then he asked me to dip them in milk first, and I was like, hold up. Okay, yeah, because I'm a businesswoman.
What a time to be alive.
It's a great time. All right, what else do we have?
It's 7:33.
One thing that I really love about Halloween and all the films like that, instead of like, I mean, I guess it's like all horror movies, but again, as we've discussed in this podcast, I don't really watch spoopy films because they scare me and my brain takes them home with me.
Yeah.
Like when I first watched Hereditary, if you haven't listened to that episode, I was awake for a full night, did not sleep because I don't know how to tell myself it's just a movie. It's not going to happen.
Just watch videos of, what's her face?
Toni Collette.
No, first of all, I mean, you already see her face like it's some Netflix romantic comedy thing. That's
Yeah,
out now,
I just
so I'm like,
saw
"Whoa."
that.
And then what else did I watch? I watched something else. Oh, during my Halloween spree, I made her watch Krampus, and she's the mom in Krampus, and Adam Scott's the dad. And I was like, oh, okay.
Well, it's a thing where it's like anything that has to do with like superficial or superstitious, fucking whatever that word is.
Super
again.
bish.
Anything that has to do with like ghosts,
Goblins.
Goblin, like anything where it's like, yo, we can't prove that this isn't serious or isn't real, and it might be. I can't fuck with that. Anything like Michael Myers, like, yeah, I'm a fucking terrified of somebody coming into my house and killing me. But also, I know that I'm not Laurie Strode. Like, I'm not, he ain't coming for me. And I know that I don't live in Haddonfield, Illinois, so I can put that apart and be like, well, it's not for me.
And you probably lock your back door on like half of Haddonfield in that movie.
Isn't that so funny? Like, imagine living in a city where there was some crazy shit that happened and they're like, oh, yeah, I'll just keep this back door open. No one's ever going to come in here ever again.
Or Canada, who doesn't lock any doors. They should just be where's the Canadian slasher? Because you could just be like, oh, how are ya? And just you could literally just ring the doorbell and they'd be like, hello. And be like,
But I like, so the whole point I was getting at is that I really like watching these movies, and it kind of teaches a like passive audience to look at the entire frame and scan the whole frame of the shot, because that way you're like, oh, I can't just look at what is in my direct view of focus. Or field of focus. I have to like Like, you even were watching it with me, and you pointed out, like, look in the back, because in the far background, he was beating up a mechanic.
Yeah, you're like how he was basically the mechanic he kills to steal his jumpsuit to have like half his look. It's like I barely noticed it the first time I watched it, and I had caught my eye moved to that frame, and the last time I was like, oh, look at that shit.
And
this just beating him down.
This movie does a really good job of putting stuff in there without making it super obvious, but without making it like they didn't key on that shot for that long. Like, the dude comes in, asks something, and then leaves, and she comes
quick.
in, and it's barely there. Like, I probably would have missed it if you didn't say it, but I just love movies that kind of like bring the audience along with them and kind of show them more about film, I guess. I don't know, I'm a geek.
So like when Vicky is okay, so just break this down with names in case I get into it. So
Yes.
Jamie Lee Curtis is Laurie. Judy Greer is Laurie's daughter, Karen. And then Karen's daughter's name is Allison. Allison has her friend Vicky, who's babysitting the kid we talked about earlier. And Vicky gets killed, blah, blah, blah. Spoiler alert. And
such a bummer. I wanted her character to last so much longer.
Her dead body is hiding underneath the sheet, which is like the ghost sheet, which is a callback to the first movie. And when there's a fish tank in the room next to the body, and I didn't notice it the first time, but there's actually like the intro credit scene, like pumpkin style, is in the fish tank, like sitting there floating. There's little things, and then when the kids are running around trick or treating, the kids that run into Michael Myers are wearing Halloween 3 Season of the Witch masks.
I did not know that.
Yeah, there's a bunch of little shit hidden. There's stuff I'm sure I missed. Maybe there's an article I could read all the things, but there's definitely some shit where I was like, oh, look at that.
I'm probably going to marathon all of them and be like, yo, let's go see it again.
Yeah.
Because I think you can double up on movies that you've already seen.
It doesn't matter. You can do whatever you want, yeah. Judy Greer normally annoys me, and I guess that's why it worked out again in this movie, where she's like my mom's fucking overbearing and crazy, and like she just has to let this go, which obviously comes back to bite her in the ass. And she needs to actually, defend herself at some point, but like she basically spends the majority of the movie like, Mom, just give it up, blah, 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 blah. Like, you could tell they go into her backstory, like she got taken away by social services at 12. Laurie taught her how to shoot, fight, and everything, just prepare for Michael if that day ever came. She ends up with one of the best lines in the movie and best moments in the movie, which even the people we were with there today, like, you could hear them initially go, oh, because there's a hidden hatch in Laurie's kitchen in the house that they hide everyone in, and that's where all the guns and stuff are. And in a moment which Laurie's out of the picture for a bit, and Michael Myers figured out like the kitchen island that was guarding the Safeway. He's like tearing it off, and she's sitting there with the gun like waiting, and she kind of freaks out like, Mom, I can't do this. And I literally heard someone in the crowd go like, oh my God, like almost like pathetic, like, really, that's what you're doing right now, like just to kind of, oh my God, I'm so sorry, Mom. And then you're kind of like, oh my God, really, just do it. And then of course she's like, gotcha, and like fucking literally beans him right in like the neck.
The way that people describe seeing the first Star Wars reboot movie with Rey, and how she like gets the fucking like lightsaber because Kylo Ren is like, nah, dude, it's mine, and she's like, I know the Force.
Yeah,
that's how I felt about that line.
Yeah,
when she actually is like, ha ha ha, bitch.
Like, I got this. Get the fuck out of here.
That was so cool to see. That was maybe my favorite part of the movie.
And then it's immediately a little bit shadowed by, and it's in the trailers, when Laurie emerges from the shadows behind him and goes, Happy Halloween, Michael. And then tries to like take a stab at him. And I'm like, all right, we could have dealt without that.
I thought that was fine. I think at that point you're so into like, fuck yeah, kill him, fuck him up, that you're into it. I thought the whole ending was so cool. The fact that it's not a fucking safe hole, it's a cage.
It's like a trap for Michael, yeah.
And that
burns the house down.
And that they're like willing to burn all of it down. I think that says even more about like, yeah, they're fucking willing to put everything behind them finally because he's dead. And I think that that's like a cool thing that they touch on a handful of times. Like, even though this happened 40 years ago, it's a traumatic event that happened in her life that she's going to completely deal with her entire life.
Oh, yeah.
Until he dies, she's going to like keep the locks on that house and fear for her life.
When they played the tapes of Dr. Loomis being like, I suggest like termination, like burn him. I want to put my ear to his heart, feel the fact he's no life left in him. Like, and then even then, like, literally dismantle the body, like everything. Like,
right. Like, I completely understand why. Like, I think
It's
that
all of the evil.
like you think that she like I think that some people might think that she's a basket case because she's like, oh, why are you fucking driving and watching him be transferred from one prison or one asylum to another? And it's like, no, I kind of get that because
Dude, if she was smart, she would have just assassinated him.
yeah, you know.
Yeah, no, I would have just got my car. I would have sat there with my beer, and I would have drank my beer, and then I would have followed the car.
You Molson?
I would have taken my gun and just fired a old bullet right in his fracking head.
Like shooting a moose.
Yeah.
Yeah, like shooting a moose a little bit.
Yeah, no, I do it like that, yeah.
I think if we keep going, our accent's going to keep changing until eventually Irish.
Hoobity
Scottish.
hoobity hoop.
Oh, man.
I'm Irish. It's okay.
I'm Irish too. It's okay.
Yeah, because you got red in the beard.
I do have red in my beard. But I think the only drawbacks I saw in this movie were, again, like the lines seemed a little forced. But again, it's one of those things where it's like, I don't know if it's supposed to be like that.
I mean, I'm always okay with that in a horror movie to a degree. Like,
And also, the more and more that we learn about filmmaking and like editing and shit, there could have been a whole fucking scene there that got cut and thrown on the cutting room floor that would have made that seem so much more natural.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they could have had a whole dialogue for 10 minutes of like, I'm afraid of him because of this.
I liked, where is it? Let me see.
Speaking of that, one of my favorite things is when movies come out. I saw a tweet about this and I totally agree. When movies come out and they're like, the original cut of this was 4 hours. And people are like, yeah, that's what all movies do. Like, there are drafts and they shoot so much more. Unless it's that Snowman movie that didn't even finish fucking filming and they put it out anyway.
Yeah, and I was like, when trailers came out for that, I was like, oh, I'll go see that. And then I never did. And I heard that movie was fucking horrific. So I was like, all right,
they didn't have the budget to finish filming and it went to production anyway.
Oh. Is that with Michael Fassbender or whatever?
Yes.
The ending of the movie, obviously they show the house burning down, but when I notice when they go back to the lair where he's trapped, supposedly he's not standing there anymore.
Yes.
Which obviously, I mean, you should somewhat expect that if they choose to make more movies, obviously he's going to survive. I think it's like a foregone conclusion at this point. Like, the villain generally comes back.
Especially him.
Yeah, especially him. Who knows how he escaped out or whatever.
If this is already made, what, you said 232 or 252?
They say a sequel's in development, but there's no sort of concrete plans. And Jamie Lee Curtis says she would definitely do another movie, but she's only doing it if David Gordon Green directs again.
That's cool.
Like, it has to be the same team.
I like that that's like a cool parameter of it.
Which that's never really been any case. Like, Rob Zombie, I think, might have been the first one to ever direct 2 Halloween movies, because John Carpenter doesn't direct the second one, I don't think. I think he's like an executive producer. I'm going to fact check myself now to make sure I'm right.
Wait, for this movie? John Carpenter? Or for the second one?
No, I'm saying...
did he George Lucas
Rob
it?
Zombie's the only one to ever direct 2 Halloween movies.
Oh.
John Carpenter directed the first one, but Rick Rosenthal directed the second one. And it was produced by John Carpenter, written by John Carpenter, and Deborah Hill wrote the first 2 movies.
Okay. Well, I think that they plant such a seed with the daughter that I can't remember her name. What is the granddaughter's name again?
Allison?
Allison. I think they plant such a good seed of now she has the killer instinct.
Because she's holding the knife.
And the whole thing was that, like, you could see that they were trying to not get her, or they were trying to keep her away from all of this violence, and then she's the one who grabs the knife, and, like, you could even argue that she's the one that officially lands the blow that keeps him in the cage.
Yeah.
But they leave, and she's the only one that carries the knife with her, and now I could totally see that they're planting that seed. Like, well, now she's going to be somewhat violent and maybe a killer.
Part of me was like, oh, fuck, is she going to kill these people off right here and be like, meh, like leave it at that?
I was shocked when it ended when it did, because I felt like it had only been like an hour and 20 minutes. It felt so short, but I was fine with it. I was just like, oh, I thought there would be way more conclusion.
It certainly didn't drag.
This is also a fun type of movie where, like, all of the fucking characters get killed. Like, the husband's killed. Like, everyone's life is ruined from this one
I
fight.
got peanut butter on my penis.
You could tell they added penis in there.
Yeah.
Because he also later says hand. I'm going to go clean my hand.
Got it on my penis.
That was so fucking funny. But it's just like that whole thing where it's like, you think that dude's going to live, and he's just so dead. And then they bring him up later again in the closet. That was great.
Yeah. Because I have it up because how familiar are you with the Halloween franchise? Like, have you seen Halloween 3, Season of the Witch?
I'm familiar in the essence that I think that I've seen them, but I don't know that I've seen them unless we put them on and you show them to me.
Because this would be a good one down the road to do, because Halloween 3, Season of the Witch There's no Michael Myers. They moved away from Michael Myers after Halloween 2, and they wanted to make Halloween like a franchise movie where it could just be like Halloween, Season of the Witch.
I am pretty sure I've seen this then, because I remember sitting down to watch a Halloween marathon and be on AMC and being like, all right, cool, got my candy, got my popcorn, Halloween 3, here we go. And then being like, where the fuck is Michael Myers?
It's a super weird movie.
I want to say I've seen it then, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's picked up like it's a cult classic now. Like obviously, like they actually like re-released like the masks that the kids are wearing in Season of Witch, and that's why they're in this movie.
Yeah. Is it on Plex?
I believe so, yeah.
All right, maybe I'll have to watch it. I imagine I'm going to go home and just like put it on in the background and go through them.
Watch Happy Death Day.
I saw the trailer for that today and it looked really funny.
It's just dumb. Like even like
You should go watch First Man.
I mean, if I get my A-list, I'll be like, yeah, I'll go see First
Yo,
Man.
tell me why the fuck... Yo, if you listen to this podcast and you know shit about shit, can you explain to me why Suspiria was in one theater near me for like 4 fucking days?
Because Suspiria was released in limited release on October 19th, and then it got released nationwide on the 26th.
And then again nationwide, I think on the 2nd. Or no, it might be a different one. Either way, it was in theaters for like maybe at most a week and nowhere near me except for the one that we went to tonight, which is like a bigger theater.
No, October 26th was the wide release.
God damn it, that's my fault then. But still, like 2 fucking weeks?
It's really getting like torn apart.
But for the promotion they put into that movie, like you're telling me that has to get taken out of theaters, but Venom can stay in theaters, bro?
Yeah.
Bro.
That's a movie where like, I'll watch that eventually.
Suspiria?
I saw enough from like certain sources to be like, yeah.
Have you seen the original?
Yeah.
I love the original. I mean, I can't like fucking do trivia, but I remember seeing it a couple times and loving it.
The new one apparently drags.
Yeah, but I mean, so what?
Like, so what?
So what? I want to go see it, and I wanted to see it in theaters. Suspiria, also known as the original Black Swan.
Oh, let's see what's out and leaked that I could watch. I could watch Mission Impossible
on
Fallout.
What?
Blind Spotting I got on there now. Crazy Rich Asians.
Oh, I walked up to use the bathroom, and Lindsay was watching that. She just started it, and I walked in on a scene where the guy was putting his hand on the girl's boobie. And I was like, are you watching porn?
Was it a naked boob?
No, it was like fully clothed.
Wow.
But I literally opened the door. I was like, oh, what do you want? And then as soon as I said that sentence, he touched a boobie.
Boob?
And I was like, are you watching porn? I just wanted to give her a real funny guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. You're saying yeah.
Dude, would you hate me if this podcast stopped recording 30 minutes ago?
Did it?
No, I'm totally kidding. We're fine.
Oh, you mean like how the video component did?
I did check though after I was like, oh my God, we were still recording?
I think we're good. But we're back. Oh, shout out to my dude. I should get his name.
Pull this up.
I'm gonna pull it up.
We got a SoundCloud
thing.
comment. I didn't know. I always assume that if someone responds to us, they like know you, and I don't know who they are.
No, I think that with the Shimmer, it's all you.
It's
I did get a fucking text from Byron, our friend Byron with
shout
Fright
out to Fright Day. I got my Fright Day shirt just in time for Halloween.
He texted me saying, glad to see you're back, and we don't agree, or something like that. Okay, so this is
he loved Mandy. I think he gave it like 4 stars.
Matt M. Bird on SoundCloud. Love the show, and I hate to be this guy, but my grandpa's 67 Cadillac had power windows. So glad you guys are back. Thank you, Matt.
Boom. We stand corrected.
We stand corrected, and I guess power windows were a thing.
Yeah. So I'm going to do better fact checking in the future. Or not, so that way more people have to reach out to us and correct us.
Tell us we're fucking wrong.
Send us suggestions. I don't know.
Tell us whatever. But
I want to get to the point where a stranger's making patches of our podcast, tweeting us about it.
Oh, yeah, that did happen with Smarkville.
Every time we see Kevin Kelly, his his backpack or something, I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, I think for the most part, we're back. We're going to keep doing this weekly. Hopefully we don't fall off. I mean, there are so many movies coming out. Like First Man just came out.
Plus, we can start knocking out multiples once we have a pretty static setup going down here now. Nothing really ever has to get broken down necessarily.
Yeah, but if there are some movies that came out that you want to hear our take on because you, for some odd reason, like 2 dudes telling you their take on it, fucking let us know.
Yeah.
Because it kind of, I get it. It seems like you're having a conversation with buddies when you listen to a podcast.
And then it's Shimmer Podcast at gmail.com, Shimmer Podcast on Instagram, and I'll even put, I don't know, do you have an open Twitter account?
Just my music one, which you could put.
Okay, yeah, so I'll put our personal Twitter accounts like in the show descriptions if you want to follow those, because I'll start talking more shit about movies versus like wrestling and dumb memes.
Yeah.
Like that little kid that's like drinking the milkshake and has his eyes bulged open. I don't know if you saw my tweet about that.
There have been so many videos of people bulging their eyes out, and it's so gross to me.
It's basically a little kid that's just going...
Oh, like that. Okay, I thought you meant like people that were actually able to bulge their eyes out.
No. And the kid's like drinking a milkshake. Like he looks like, oh boy. And I put, when you and your girl get McDonald's, but they forgot her fries. You have to see it to believe it. You know,
it's a meme.
It's pretty funny. It's pretty sick.
Let's go get really fucked up and watch Aquaman.
Oh God.
But for free. Like, yo, can we get a
The only DC movie I've seen is Wonder Woman.
Can we get a GoFundMe for just the two of us to go watch Aquaman? And all you have to do is pay for our tickets.
And we'll Instagram live us at like 2:00 in the afternoon at like a local theater.
And maybe like our beer or whatever drinks we get. Honestly, let's go fund me for a 30-pack of Miller Lite, lifts, LYFTs, to and back from there. Or if somebody wants to drive us, we could work that out too. We'll go see Aquaman. I'll fall asleep halfway through and then pee myself because I drank so many Miller Lights.
There's an AMC in like North Jersey that they built from the ground up, and it has one of those baller bars in it. And I was like, I want to go there one day, but I checked it out, and it was like at least an hour drive from here. And I was like, how badly do I want to do that piece of shit?
There's one with a bar like 15 minutes from my house.
But like I'm talking about like the one like it's the only AMC in New Jersey. I read a whole article about it that like they actually built from the ground up with their design scheme versus moving into an existing theater.
You know what you do?
What?
You go to the AMC Palisades like my buddy Kevin and I do.
Uh-huh.
You go to the Fridays or the Dave & Buster's in the same mall.
The D&B?
And then you walk to the AMC that's in that same mall.
It's like me and Brendan would go drink at Applebee's and then walk over to the Brick.
There's also an ice skating rink in that same mall.
I really contemplated driving under the influence when we...
Oh!
I'm kidding.
I know. I just wanted to give a good oh.
Oh! When we went to go watch Flatliners, not realizing it was like a 0% horrible like PG-13 recreation of it with a Juno in it.
Ellen Page.
Yeah, I was like, I expected way better out of Ellen Page for that piece of shit. I was like, really? Like I should trust you. I should be able to be like, oh, Ellen Page is in this. This ain't gonna be bad.
I just saw a YouTube video of Natalie Portman going through her entire career, and she talks about Black Swan, and she says how like the whole time that she filmed it, she thought it was going to be like documentary style, and then she watched it and she's like, oh, this is like an over-the-top like art movie.
Yeah.
Maybe that happened with Ellen Page and Flatliners.
Maybe.
Also, with all of the fucking like hands in a movie, there's a chance that like the script was good, and then by the time it came out, it was shitty. You can't blame Ellen. You can't blame Ellen. Or maybe she needed some money.
Gun to your head, name one other Ellen Page movie that isn't Inception or Juno.
Hard Candy.
Oh, fuck.
Also, not Whiplash, Whip It.
Is that the roller derby movie?
The Drew Barrymore directed movie.
Gotcha.
I loved Ellen Page, bruh.
Isn't Paul Heyman in that?
Paul Heyman?
No, there's another roller derby movie that came out at some point, and Paul Heyman's in it.
Have you ever seen Hard Candy?
No.
You should watch it. It's so good.
Okay. Have you seen Tully?
Not yet.
You gotta watch it, bro.
You should watch First Man first.
Okay.
You should watch Hard Candy and then watch First Man.
Okay.
First Man's so good. I heard a lot of people talking shit about it, but I don't think anyone saw it.
I haven't seen any space movies.
It's so good. It's so well done. Like
everyone keeps telling me to watch Gravity because like the like sound and shit.
Amazing.
And I'm like, yeah, I'll watch it, and then I'm like, nah, I don't watch it.
I saw Gravity in theaters. It's an entire panic attack.
Sandra Bullock.
Like it's so fucking nerve wrenching. Whatever.
The last space movie I saw was Independence Day. Resurrection.
Resurrection. No, but like
Rocket Man.
I think that the problem with the First Man is that this is now a podcast about First Man. This is like when you talked about Man Apart. Or when you talked about Hostiles.
Yo, we are gonna see A Man Apart. Oh, dude. Fuck A Man Apart. We gotta watch. It's on Netflix now.
Oh, God.
Hostiles.
I think
watch
that, like, it's like kind of being promoted as just another space movie. But in reality, it's kind of this like really well done movie about how fucked Neil Armstrong's relationship was.
I believe it.
All right, thank you very much for listening to us. We'll see you next week, and by see you, I mean you'll listen to us, and we will never see what your face looks like unless you want to send us a photo of your face. If so, it's the Shimmer Podcast on all formats, and don't send us photos of your dick!